Welcome to the Lone Pine Real Estate Company podcast and radio show, creating solutions to navigating tricky real estate waters. I'm your host, Rachael Umstead, broker and owner of Lone Pine Real Estate Company here in Midcoast, Maine. Real estate isn't always smooth sailing. Whether you're buying, selling, investing, or just trying to figure out your next step, the path can feel overwhelming. That's why this podcast exists, to bring clarity, confidence, and creative solutions to the complex world of real estate. And fun. We all want fun. Each episode will dive into real stories, practical solutions, and expert insight to help you make smart decisions and avoid common pitfalls, all while staying grounded in what matters most: your goals, your future, and your peace of mind. Please note this podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, financial, or real estate advice. Listening to this episode does not create a client-agent relationship. Always consult with a licensed professional about your specific situation. So grab your coffee and join me under the pine. Together we'll chart the course. So you've been doing septic since 2005?
2005.
But is that on your own or when you started with?
No, me and Jake started 8 years ago. We just went on our own.
And then when did you get into it, Jake?
So I got into it in high school. My first job was in a kitchen, and then I really wanted to get outside, so my dad helped get me a job at Pat Jackson, and I pumped tanks for several years. And then during college, I stayed right with it, so I actually have a bachelor's degree for criminal justice studies. And then when I graduated college, my dad and I decided to team up and start our own business, because worst thing that could have happened was he was already at retirement age and I had a degree. So if we didn't make it on our own, we both had things to fall back on, but so far we've been pretty successful.
So you've been doing it for 8 years, and how did it start off? Like, it's a huge need. I mean, it's a need that never really goes away. So did it start off like, were you successful right away?
Yeah, luckily everyone already knew my dad Steve's name, so it was pretty easy for us to just kind of pick up where we left off, so to say, when we transitioned from working for a company to starting on our own.
Okay, and then what did you have to do? Like, get special equipment?
We had to buy everything.
What kind of equipment do you use?
So pretty basic tools such as spades, probes, hooks, but our most important piece of our equipment has been our sewer scope, which is very expensive, but that does the majority of the job for us. We can see inside the pipes, see inside the leach fields, and most importantly, if we run into a problem, the head of the camera has sonar. So we can take our wand and we can actually come right down, and it will tell us how close we are to being from what we need to look at in the ground. So say if we run our camera out an outlet line and we run into a broken pipe, we can take that wand, find exactly where the camera had stopped, and it will tell us if we're 2 feet down, 3 feet down, so on and so on.
That's super cool. And you do this year round, right?
Year round.
And what's your busiest season?
Definitely, I would say probably May through October.
And then how does it work in the winter?
A lot of jackhammering. So we do a lot less jobs, and they're a lot more time consuming, especially this winter. We just go to a property and we pretty much start from inside the house and work our way out to where we need to be, and we jackhammer for hours.
Yeah, I was with you one time when you were jackhammering for, it's like, it could have been like a 15-minute thing, and it was an hour and a half.
Yep.
Yeah. So does it ever gross you out when you're at a septic anymore? Did you get used to it pretty quickly?
You do. So I would say the first few months of being in it, I was really in particular about not getting pretty much anything on me, dirt whatsoever. And then one day you just kind of snap into it and you want to get the job done and you're willing to get dirty, so to say.
Yeah. And then you have you probably is it like being a farmer? Do you have like separate clothing for
Yes.
for the jobs?
I do. I don't know about my dad. But I definitely wear my work clothes strictly at work, and my nice clothes as soon as I get home I change.
You change.
Not me.
It doesn't bother you
I
at
go
all.
to the Elks Lodge with the clothes. Like today, if we do that septic inspection, I go into the Elks with my work clothes on.
Yeah, I was always wondering that because I'm like there with you. You guys do not
we
seem phased at all by anything.
We really don't get
Dirty.
septic on you.
Yeah.
We know how you do. What it is, the pumpers that when they pump, they get more of the septic on them because they're handling that. We open the covers and stuff like that.
Right.
There's no reason for us to get septic on us.
It's just
So
on
we
the
stay,
camera.
yeah,
You
just the
clean it up.
camera, but we wipe that and we had Kleenex wipes to make sure it's clean. But no, the only advantage we got, what I like about doing it is it builds up your immune system faster than any other thing. You'll go, people who work for municipalities, for sewer districts, they don't get sick either.
Oh,
Because of the sewer, you're picking up everything that, like when the...
Just from the gas, you mean?
Well, everything goes through there. I mean, when, what was it that came
COVID?
through there, COVID?
Mm-hmm.
How do you think they test for it? They go to the colleges and stuff and they test the sewer.
Oh.
And it would be in the sewer. Like us, when we were opening tanks, we were picking up COVID, but we never got COVID. We could have had it, but it didn't affect us because we already built an immunity to it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's how they test for things that's in the sewer.
Okay. Do you have any, like, fun fact you like to tell people that most people don't know about this industry or this job?
I don't know about a fun fact, but
Or, like, an interesting fact?
an interesting fact. No, we just have interesting stories.
Okay,
outside
so
of
tell
that.
an interesting story, Jake. Like, your dad's always storytelling, and
Probably.
I love it. It's, like, my favorite part of septic.
So I think I ran into more interesting stories when we pump tanks because you definitely see different things. So we've seen everything from buried Volkswagen Beetles in the ground being used as septic tanks. And one time we backed into this guy's camp that was right on the water. I won't say where. And he's like, "Yeah, you gotta come over and pump out my tank." So we're looking around, we can't find a tank, and he's like, "Yeah, it's right over there." And we actually fed the hose down in through a sunroof. And it was just a car that was buried in the ground.
And it just went into the car?
It just went into the car.
And so
And
you
he
could just
just-
go through it, couldn't it?
Oh yeah, it had no windows, but it was technically that was the holding chamber, and he just had a bunch of stone around it. So really, what we were doing was just pumping out the solids out of it. But he had a car that he was using as a septic tank.
So that is very bizarre.
Yep.
Yeah, a few years ago, I did one. The lady said that she wanted, her husband had passed away, and she said, "Well, I really should have my septic tank pumped." So we went down. They didn't know where it was, and we found it. It was a tanker, the whole tanker. He dropped it. The guy had worked for an oil company. He dropped the tanker in the ground and piped it in the front and ran a line out, which he didn't need to. I mean, it was like 5,000, 8,000 gallon tanker.
Wow.
Yeah, he dropped the whole tanker in the ground. Used the tanker. So I've seen that. So but we had to cut a hatch so we could pump it, and we told her you never have to pump again.
It was working?
Yeah, it was working. Yeah, that's a lot area for it. And it was just her living there, and her and her husband. Took them years to fill that up.
Wow.
But
That
no,
is
I've seen a
interesting.
tanker being used. And then we did one, the realtor called us in because the buyers used another inspector, but they couldn't find the tank.
Okay.
So we went to the job. We got back up there, and she had paperwork that was supposed to be leach field. New. I looked out. I said, "There's no leach field. You're in a farm field here. It's a big old farmhouse." So I see a marker way out in the field. There's like a little gully. So I go out there and start digging at the end. I hit the pipe. When I did it, echoed all the way through the house loud because there was no tank. It was an open ditch. Everything was going to the ditch. Just
Yikes.
running. Yeah. Even if she was in the house, the realtor wasn't. woke her up.
Yeah, I bet it did.
Yep, no tank. It echoed all the way through because it wouldn't echo if there was a tank, because the baffle and everything would stop it. The sound would stop.
Wow. You've seen a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, I used to do islands, but too much time's lost going over. You know, I won't do an island.
Right.
Yeah, my day's gone, and you always run into different
Weird
things
things.
on islands. Yeah,
Very odd things.
I mean, we did a system on one island, and it was if it was low tide, we probably could walk to the island. It wasn't very far out, but it was just one big building there, and they had put in the new system that it's like an aerating tank, so it pumps out to the second tank from the main tank. And we opened that, it was clear water, so we got down. In the meantime, the tide went out. We go down in front of the place, and look, this cast iron pipe going out into the ocean. So we said, then we ran dye, went right in the ocean. They were running in the ocean. So we wound up going back another year because that person didn't buy the place. And another person was going to buy it. I get back then, and he shows me the paperwork. The caretaker said, look at that. Look at the price. Hazardous waste they hauled away. And they fixed our problem. Well, the tide goes out while we're there. They put in 35 gauge pipe. They took the hazardous waste, which was the old cast iron pipe, hauled it away. Put the green pipe, the 35, into the pump station just low enough so the float won't go on. So the float was going right out to the ocean.
Oh, wow.
They kept it running like that.
Yeah.
And it's just tied the whole day up.
Yeah.
You have to charge. I mean, you got to get a boat ride in, you got to get back, and I just had bad luck.
Yeah.
I stay on the mainland.
You stay on the mainland from Brunswick to like Northport.
Yeah,
So
and we're going to Millinocket next week.
Yes, I knew that you went to other places.
Well, I got a friend that lives a couple towns up.
Okay.
So we're going to get paid to go visit him.
Okay, good. Very good.
Once we develop a good relationship with a realtor or a client, yeah, you can probably convince us to go to
Right.
out of our normal areas.
Right.
So we just talked about some pretty horrifying situations, but for the most part, people have normal systems.
Yes, for the
Right.
most part.
So we don't want to scare anyone. For the most part, they're normal systems. And even if so you go in, if you're either hired by your realtor, you're hired by a seller directly, whoever hires you, you go in, you check the tank, you check the leach field. Sometimes you have to communicate bad news, but then you send a report.
Yep.
And so people get like a detailed report about how the system's functioning, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I just want to say too that what is your take? And my take is like if someone has a failed septic, it isn't the end of the world.
No.
Right?
No.
Like it's not. I mean, it can
No.
seem so daunting to a first-time home buyer or someone buying
Right.
who doesn't, because most people only buy a few houses in their lifetime, right? That's the average. But tell us your thoughts on that. Like,
I would say, yeah, it's definitely scary for a first-time home buyer when they're looking at this house that they really want to buy, right? And it might sometimes all boil down to, of course, the home inspection and the septic. And I think with the septic, the scary thing is with a home, you can see more visually. With the septic, we're all underground, so you don't know what it's going to be like when we get there. And a lot of the times, even a homeowner won't know that they have potential problems because they flush the toilet and it always worked.
yeah.
It disappeared.
Right.
So I think what we really discover is a lot of the unforeseen stuff that goes on with the leach field. But as we've learned, just about anything can be replaced or fixed. It comes with a price, but it's definitely not the end of the world for a malfunctioning septic system.
And if you're moving into a house and you're buying that house and it comes down to you need a new septic, at least when you move in, if you negotiate it and you get a new septic, you'll have a new septic when
Right.
you move in. And how
Exactly.
long do septics typically last?
It depends on how it's used. It's all water usage.
Mhm.
It's all maintaining the tank. The tank has to be pumped regularly.
Mhm.
About the amount of people that live there.
So
Yeah.
what does that mean? Like,
Well, if you got 5 people living there, you want to pump every 3 years, not pass it.
okay,
You go up more, pump every 2 years.
right.
Yeah, and if you're down to 2 people, they always say, "Oh, you don't need to pump." I would pump it with 2 people using it every 3 years. Because you keep your tank, the longer the leach field lasts.
Right. Taking care of your tank is taking care of your leach field.
Right,
Yeah.
that and keeping your leach field mowed so
Okay.
that the sun works on it as much. You got to keep your leach field cleared, and you don't want no bushes coming up. So you want to go outside the bed, keep a 10-foot perimeter around it, so the bushes and stuff, root intrusion will kill the
And
system.
don't have any pine trees near it, or
Pine trees, if they're near it, they don't attack.
what attacks?
White birches and birch trees and maple trees, lilac,
Willow trees.
and willow will turn it into a carpet. I mean, I've done leach fields where you can't even get the spade through the roots because it's willow just fills it right full. It's all done. It kills it right there. So
So no willow trees.
no
No.
willow trees. Not and don't mark your tank with a lilac tree. Like some people will do that. Don't mark your tank with a bush because then the root will go in the cover seam
Okay.
thinner than your hair,
Right.
and then it explodes once it gets in the tank. It goes right through the seam, just like it does when you have 40 gauge pipe. It goes at the unions where you join them.
Mhm.
They'll go right in there. That's tight, but a root can go in and get into the pipe.
What's the best way to mark the tank?
I always say use a colored stone or brick. Just insert it so you can mow over it.
Or have a riser? Can you get a riser with like an actual cover on the
Yeah.
top too?
So we
Yeah.
love risers for inspection purposes. We don't have to dig as much, and your septic company that pumps your tank also loves risers.
And then you don't have to like search for it.
That's
'Cause-
right.
Right.
And it makes it easy accessible in the wintertime, so you won't have to jackhammer down to the tank.
Right. And so this is another thing that you guys always bring up. If I am sometimes like there's realtors who are newer or maybe less experienced with septics. Thankfully, I've had a lot of interaction with you guys, so a lot of things are drilled into my brain. But what about someone buying a house? Let's say someone's buying a house in January and there's been, people living in the house, but they moved out in October
Mhm.
and the house is going to close in February. And the realtor who has the buyer, the representing the buyer, they decide that they want to have it pumped. What's your thoughts on that?
So we never say pump the tank in the wintertime unless it's absolutely necessary, and that's usually when people are living there and it's backed up. But for a house that's vacant, like you just said, you don't want to pump in the wintertime because you want to leave your tank full. It'll keep the walls from moving because it's most likely going to freeze, especially like the winter that we just had. So if you leave your tank empty, it allows for the walls to shift because most tanks are 2 pieces. So there's a seam in the middle, and they can shift the seam, they can crack the tank, whereas leaving it full, the walls aren't necessarily going to push in.
And then also you've said this, Steve. You've said, okay, so what if it's in the summer, I'm moving in, and I just had the tank pumped, excuse me. What advice do you give to people when they're just moving in?
Usually, what I do if they moved in and the place been vacant, I tell them to get some active dry yeast, 8 to 10 ounces, after they've been there a month. Then pour it down the toilet, and that will boost the bacteria.
Okay, so tell us why, because people don't understand like what that means, like boost the bacteria. Like,
Yeah,
how does the tank work so it doesn't freeze?
With people in there, you're taking showers and stuff, the tank won't freeze.
Okay.
But when it goes vacant,
Mm-hmm.
if it's close to the top of the ground, it'll freeze solid. I mean, we had, 3 tanks this year that were frozen?
Probably more than that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one was at a camp this past week, and we got there, and they didn't use the camp in the winter, but they plowed it. And when they plowed right over the tank. So the frost was frozen. We went to Leachfield where they didn't plow. We dug. Wasn't frozen. But yet the tank froze solid, so you can't do an inspection. I mean, we had one house in West Gardner. It went vacant. Mm-hmm. And the tank froze. The home inspector did the home inspection before us, and he ran water. Oh, no. So the tank overfilled, so it backed up when we ran our camera out of the house to the tank. And we did get the tank open, and we couldn't go out the outlet pipe because the water froze up over the outlet because he overfilled the tank because it was frozen. And that was in an embankment, that's why it froze.
Okay.
The wind caught it. Mm-hmm. And that's the other reason why I say, because if your tank's in a clay area or something and you empty it in the winter, mm-hmm. clay expands. Frost will freeze, it will cave the tank in. But if it's full, it won't crush the tank.
Okay. Okay, so then I guess that I was confused about the bacteria. The bacteria is just so it will break down the solids then?
Right. It's
I was thinking it had
microorganism that's eating the septic. They live off it. And that breaks it down. Because if you don't have bacteria, you'll notice that the tank will be, all your toilet paper and everything is on top. Okay. Because it ain't going down because there's no bacteria pulling it. Okay, so it's what I call is a live tank. Okay. When I look in and I say it's dead because you can tell it will be kind of grayish. Mm-hmm. That's dead. A good tank is more blackish. And there'd be no buildup on top hardly at all, but scum layer.
Okay. Even if you have a tank with a great bacteria, say all summer, mm-hmm. and then you leave, let's say, a camp in October, and the camp's going to stay vacant from October to May. Mm-hmm. There is still a very good chance, even with the great bacteria in that tank, as cold as it's going to get, that tank is still going to potentially freeze in January.
How do you prevent it from freezing then?
You don't
it's really hard to prevent it from freezing. It would have to be buried really deep.
And you don't like...
Which we don't like to see.
Right. You don't like to see deeply buried tanks or deeply buried...
Leach fields.
Leach fields, okay. Yeah. Now, leach fields, like I said, they have 14 to 16 inches of fill over what's in the bed.
And that's so... the sun does its job, and all the soil does its job, right?
Right.
Okay.
Because you get tall grass or bamboo or anything coming across, it shuts down the sun. Okay. So you got to keep it mowed. And for instance, you've seen it with us where they keep it mowed. I'll walk into a property and I'll see 2 green lines. Mm-hmm. And I can read the bed because the green line going down each side of the infiltrator, mm-hmm. that's where the sun's pulling the water out. Okay. Can't come up through the plastic. So if it's one straight line, we know now it's in step down series because mm-hmm. each row is lower. So you can tell how far it's gone by the green lines coming along on a bed installed correctly.
You can see how far the water
has moved through the system.
Right.
That's how you read it. Okay,
so I'm just going to do a recap as we're ending, and you can interject with me or interject anytime you want to. So people call you, they have an inspection. It's important to have an inspection because a septic system, it's, we don't really think about it, whether it works or not, because it's, if as long as we're flushing the toilet, as Jake said, and it's going down, then it's like out of sight, out of mind.
You're not backing up into the house.
So then you come, you inspect from the inside out, you inspect the pipe going to the tank and then to the leach field, and your advice is no grease, no wipes, no taking your hair out of your brush and flushing it down the toilet, mm-hmm. no other paper products down, just toilet paper. Yep. And then if you then it goes to the tank, and if you no grease also. So then if you're like one person or 2 people, you don't pump the tank as much.
Correct. Yeah, you can go. If I'd say, for instance, my wife and I are the only 2 that live in our house. We pump every 3 years. Because I know, being in the business, the cleaner the tank stays, the longer my leach field is going to last.
But most people might do it every 5 years.
Yeah, some people do an every 5-year schedule, which is also usually fine if there's just 2 people living in the house.
And more people, more frequent.
Yeah, so especially in Booth Bay, Southport area, when I worked with Pat Jackson, there are people down there that pump every year because it costs a lot more to put a system in because everything, all the gravel, stone, and stuff has to be hauled to Booth Bay. So they don't want the leach field gone, so they pump every year whether they need it or not. You can tell them
And
you
they
don't
pump
need to.
in the summer.
Yeah.
You pump in the summer.
Yeah.
You pump when it's warm.
Yeah.
You take care of your tank. You clean the filter. You have it pumped. And then the leach field, your favorite is the stone and pipe, but then there's necessary times and that the soil scientist will design a tank that's appropriate for the lot, appropriate for that particular house, bedrooms, everything. But with the leach field, you're saying no swimming pools, nothing on top of it, no gardens.
Correct.
Keep it mowed, and I think that's it, right?
Keep it a nice grassy spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is what we like to see when we pull it.
Keep it ugly, like.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be ugly. If it's mounded,
Keep it boring.
keep it boring. That's a better word. So
Yeah.
keep it boring, and then if something is wrong with your septic, it's not the end of the world. This is, new septics can go in, and typically they go into a different spot, as Steve was saying, because he can spot the new spot. So I think that wraps it up. Do you have any other last pointers or quick stories you want to tell?
I was going to point out one. I was fortunate to do this. This is when I worked with Pat Jackson. The state always tries out new systems, and I happened to do a system that nobody's ever seen before. It went in down, and it was actually in Booth Bay, and it was they tried it out because the state paid for it because it was a Section 8 house, so they try to help them out. So she backed up into the house, and she had like 3 kids, and the system's 3 years old or 2 years old. I go down and I walk over. It was like walking on a waterbed. I go, what the heck we got in the ground? When I put the spade in, styrofoam peanuts shot out of the ground.
Oh, no.
So somebody came up with the idea of taking perforated pipe instead of using stone, net styrofoam peanuts around the pipe. Well, that didn't work. I called the site evaluator, had it put in. He said, thank you. Now I could tell the state we're not using it.
Because it doesn't. How could it clean?
It can't because it has nowhere to leach.
Right.
Especially when you are one old person living or one person, it would probably run a long time. They wouldn't have caught it. But she had 3 kids, and they were using a lot of water. But the water couldn't evaporate and anything because it was in the styrofoam peanuts. I mean, it was a big net. That's all they did. That was an experiment. And we happened to see the video. We saw the video of the contractor put it in. He videoed it. He says, I can't believe. He said, but we're getting paid to do it, but I don't see how it's going to work. Even the contractor said it. We watched his little video on the phone.
Wow.
So, yeah, I forgot about that one. That's one of the weirdest things I see.
I think a good thing to keep in mind is we do know what works, but we're also going to keep experimenting with new systems to figure out other different opportunities as well for the future.
Yeah.
I mean, septic systems have come a long way just from the 1960s to where we are now, but we're going to keep figuring out different things that work.
Yeah, that's true.
Right,
Very
like
true.
infiltrators. I mean, they went through many stages. I mean, I've inspected them right after they were being put in the ground. They switched from natural earth. That's how they put them in to begin with. They just take a backhoe, drop them in, bury it. Well,
What's an infiltrator? Cause
plastic dome.
And they get crushed easily.
They get crushed. Yeah, they can run over them, or they settle down. They put too much fill over the top. They go into fine sand. Well, they were using beach sand after that. Well, the beach sand, you put a family in there with a bunch of kids, they would biomat up immediately, shut right down.
And then it just acts.
Yeah, then you go dig down, the water comes right up over the infiltrator. So then they switched it to stone with fabric over the top.
Okay.
Perfect bed.
Okay.
They finally got it to the best they could. It was actually really top notch.
Okay.
But Presby have their own They bought out infiltrators. There will be no more infiltrators. They bought the company out, said we're going to put ours in, which is the environmental tubes.
Okay. So just to clarify, when you guys say biomat up, that means that solids are
It's
getting
black.
or like a black sludge.
Yeah.
So that's when the fluent leaches out into a leach field. It works its way down the leach field, and in the process, it creates what we call biomat, and it's just a very black, like thickness scum that builds up in the soils and in the device. And as it biomats up over time, it works its way through the system until it gets to the end.
And then it doesn't work anymore.
Correct.
Right.
And that's what malfunctioning system.
And that's when you fail the system.
Yep.
Okay, so if people wanted to hire you for a septic inspection, how do they do that?
The easiest way would be to call or text me anytime, and we are pretty good at being able to book people in right away. I would say in the summertime during our busiest time of year, it's good to give us at least a week to a week's and a half notice, and we can fit you right in. Oftentimes, we can fit you in that week.
And it's right now. It's April. Is it April 11th?
Yes.
2025. What are
Yes.
you charging? I know it goes up each year because it has to. But what are you charging right now for a septic?
So as long as it's
inspection?
a residential system with one tank and one leach field, which most houses are, we are $400.
Okay.
And the best part of it is we get the full written report out that same day.
Right. But that's not 400 anywhere we go. We go by, we're going away further out, we'll charge more.
Right.
To
that
do
makes
it.
sense.
Yeah, like Millinocket, we're going to charge.
Well, yeah, we will charge travel fees if we're way out from Augusta.
So
Right.
tell people how do you get in contact with you?
So you can find us a few different ways. Most people find us through the realtors, which is very efficient, but also you can search us online. So if you just look up Quimby Septic, it will pop up with usually my email, my phone number. You can get a hold of me that way.
What's the best way? What's your preferred way?
Definitely just calling me. Yeah.
Okay.
So email, a lot of the times we are out in the field working, so I'm not going to be checking my email every hour.
Right.
But typically we're back and forth to the truck, so I'll look at my phone because I keep my phone in the truck while we're working. And if I see, I have a missed call from Rachael, she probably wants to book a septic inspection.
Yeah.
I might want to give her a call.
Great. You guys are very responsive, and you're well known in this area, and people really respect you. So thank you so much.
Thank you
for doing a good job. I always look forward to going to a septic inspection because, just like every house is different, every septic is different, and I learn something every single time.
Like yesterday, we did an apartment. Okay. And they said they had a new field. Well, when I looked over the bank, I already knew. I said, there's no way there was a new field put in here in 21.
Do you ever say that getting out of the truck, or
I know when I look at it.
You know when, but you know when to say
I know
something
when
and when not to.
I said, it ain't there. So, anyways, it's a double apartment. I go down, dig in the leach field, stone and pipe, and way old. I would say it's probably close to 30 years old. But the only thing that saved them was apartments here, the tanks dropped down some from the house, but the leach field is down the bank another 20 feet. So you got the downhill pressure. Well, by the time we got done with the inspection, we opened the D-box and stuff. The effluent from both apartments, not even using the leach field.
Wow.
Where it's going somewhere.
Okay.
It made a channel, could be on the neighbors going through their property, but it's not above ground. It's not showing a breach. But it has found a channel to go.
Yeah.
Not even in the leach field. The D-box is just a black mass. And just hardly anything went through it. We could tell with a double apartment, you'd be pumping water right through there. But
water is pretty spectacular. It'll find a route until it doesn't, and then you know.
And then you know because it comes
will
into your
back up.
house.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, that's what I said. If that had been equal, the tank and leach field going into the house were all level, same height, that would have backed up years and years ago. They would have found the problem, whatever's there. But it has that push, so the water's going somewhere.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You guys took time today, and I think it's such an important topic that, I don't know, I kind of like to ignore it because, out of sight, out of mind, but then you ignore it to you can ignore it to your own hurt. So it's super
Right.
important to pay attention to septics. And I'm very grateful that we have you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.